All right, here we are again. Welcome to the Crushing Limits Unleashed podcast. Tonight we are going to do the 2025 Arnold Classic recap. I have Stephanie, of course, we have Allie joining. What did you guys think of the show?
I thought it was a great show. It
It
was
was,
very
yeah.
fun to watch. So
hmm
I always
I'm
appreciate
just so glad Derek won.
it.
That is such a relief. I genuinely thought that they were just gonna give it to Samson because, he's Mr. O, so it's like, it would make sense. But in my opinion, I think Derek just looked a lot better condition wise, but then also he looked more proportioned too.
Hmm.
Yeah, he did make some improvements from the Olympia.
hmm
I feel like his side shots weren't incredibly strong before, and now they were pretty strong. Like he was pretty detailed all the way up, from the side leg all the way up through
hmm
the serratus and the delts. I thought his side poses really added to the overall points that he won.
Yeah, he definitely had a cleaner look, but he needs to fix his most muscular. Oh my gosh, that is just horrendous. I can't. That's where he just kind of lost it.
Yeah, I mean, of course I've watched all the other, Arnold Classic recaps. I know you heard one of them that I was watching, and it's just one of those things where he's probably never going to win the most muscular, and that's okay. It's just,
hmm
you can't be dominant in every shot. Obviously, he's going to crush just about everyone on the two back shots. But
hmm
the most muscular is probably one that he just might not never, win,
hmm
but it might not even matter, based off of the other shots. What did you
Yeah.
think?
Oh.
Same. He obviously improved from Olympia just in October, and he showed a lot of confidence on stage too at the Arnold, which was fun to watch. I love when they have fun up there. Great posing routine. Uh, Big fan of Derek, so it's fun to see him beat the current reigning Mr. Olympia. I think that's going to be a really fun uh, lead up into this year's Olympia between Samson, Derek, and Hadi again.
Yeah, there's just gonna be that feud of like, who's really the king now since all of
Yeah.
them than Mr. O in the previous years. So,
Hmm.
like you said, his routine, gosh, Celine Dion, Ashes was such a perfect pick, and you could tell he was just really feeling it and had really good flow with it, and it just fit perfect.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like he hasn't gotten enough credit for his posing routines because he's had some very good routines before. I know when he won the Mr. Olympia 2 years ago, Alyssa Kiesling, classical queen, shout
Mhm.
out. She actually did his posing routine for that Mr. O win, and I thought it was pretty good. And I
Mhm.
I had heard on a couple podcasts that that pretty much everyone really didn't really put any effort in. It's like, well, no, he hired a posing coach, and she helped him with the routine. So
Mhm.
I thought it was a pretty damn good routine myself.
Yeah. And like you even notice in his posing, but then also during prejudging and comparisons, he's actually smiling compared to Samson. And I feel like that presentation too, that's super important. If you're not smiling, the tension is just gonna shift.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the back shot, obviously was pretty much lights out for everyone, at least on the back double. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like he wins the rear lat spread too. Samson's got pretty good thickness in the rear lat spread, but I feel like, in my opinion, he was the clear winner from those two
Yeah.
back
I
shots.
feel like you could see more of it too, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let's talk about Samson. What did you guys think of Samson? I mean, was he improved from the Olympia? Did he kind of go backwards?
I feel like he slightly improved. He definitely looked fuller, but as far as conditioning, it just wasn't. comparable to Derek Lunsford. I think Derek just brought an overall best package, and that's why he won Arnold because of that. And I mean, Samson, I prejudging, he looked a little bit soft, but obviously he improved for finals. But even then, Derek still just kicked him out.
Yeah. I think Samson has a great physique and structure. Uh, as you hear everyone say, he just needs to dial in on the condition. Uh,
Hmm.
he didn't have the glute striations the same as Derek,
Hmm.
just less detail in those side shots in the legs. But he looked very good. I think he was a bit improved from the Olympia. Um, I think he's a stand-up guy. I'm a fan of Samson. I think he's great. Derek
Hmm.
just was the better person that night for the Arnold.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah, I think as a person, like Stephanie was saying, Samson is an absolute class act. I think
Hmm.
he's extremely humble as a Mr. Olympia, which we don't always see, and obviously he's a good representative for the sport. But
Derek was too.
yeah, Derek absolutely as well.
Mhm.
One thing I have a huge amount of respect for is Samson wants to compete. He says he wants to continue to compete. And if you think about it, you have a lot to lose being a Mr. Olympia entering the Arnold Classic. It's, the last time we saw a Mr. Olympia win the Arnold Classic was in 2001 when Ronnie Coleman won it. And
Yep.
that was the only Arnold Classic that he did that he won.
Hmm.
So, for Samson to do the show, he's putting a lot on the line,
Hmm.
as we saw, because now the title, he's lost, some momentum going into the Mr. Olympia.
Hmm.
So you definitely have to have respect for a guy that, he's not afraid to pretty much throw down with anyone, right?
Hmm. Yeah, he's a very humble guy, which is awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there you can see that's a great shot. I
And
feel
that's
like
why he won that. Yeah.
yeah, he won the most muscular. I feel like the abs can be a little bit better here. I'd like to see him more
Mhm.
kind of sucked in, more crisp. But I mean, overall, the
I mean, he
fullness,
just looks full in that picture
yeah,
in general. Yeah.
you can't argue with that
Hmm.
most muscular. Now,
Yeah.
moving on into third, we have Andrew Jacked. What did you guys think of Andrew?
All I could think about was the freaking tongue. Like, put that tongue away during his posing. That cracked me up. And then during finals, it's like, oh, is he gonna stick it out again? Or
I think some guys can get away with it, and then I think it just kind of becomes a little distracting for some guys.
hmm. Hmm.
In
Yeah.
which case, what did the commentators say? He had like the Gene Simmons,
Yeah,
like the kiss tongue. Like it was a bit much, maybe.
yeah. But he
Yeah.
definitely has a
Mhm.
fun personality, and he always shows that in his routines. Um, Again, I'm a big fan of Andrew Jacked. I think he's got so much potential going forward. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see that come to fruition. Uh,
Hmm.
so he was another one. He's got to improve his condition
Hmm.
to really knock someone like Samson or Derek out of that top spot.
And he's got to work on his posing too. I mean, like just in that shot, you could tell he's just really tight, and he could definitely like spread out his lats more, and even
Mm.
just the side tricep too. It's just like he wasn't even locking his elbow in. It's just more posing to help him, present more muscle to show. So,
That's a great catch too. And all of the podcasts that I've listening to, that they said the same thing. It's the side tricep, is
hmm.
not coming to fruition. As you can see right here, the back double, like you said, not opening up.
Yep.
There's definitely some structural flaws here where it's like the guy has, in my opinion, the best structure up there out of anyone,
Hmm.
even Samson. And it's like we've seen him probably come in at about 85 to 90%
Hmm.
when he won the Texas Pro last year. And everyone's been saying if he comes in 100%, it's pretty much over.
It's game over. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but it's like, yeah, there's something with I don't know if it's the prep in general or just the peaking process, but he's definitely missing that Christmas, that the
Right.
Christmas here that would win him the show.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the fourth, we got Brandon Curry. What did you guys think of Brandon?
I think
Obviously,
he's looked the best
former
he's
Mr.
ever
O.
looked. I think he's looked the best he's ever looked, in my opinion. And he was able, and for competing for that many years and to be able to place fourth, I think that's pretty awesome on his part. So,
Yeah, I think if I'm correct, I want to say he's 43. So, he's
older than you.
I know.
Wow.
He's past the prime, so he's obviously, I mean, he's still performing at a very high level.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I definitely thought he was improved um, from even when he won the O, when he won Mr.
Mhm.
O. His legs definitely came up and were had a lot more detail. He was
Mhm.
much more vascular than I've ever seen him before, which is even compared to October, this past Olympia. Um, so he definitely did something different for this show, and it
Yeah.
showed.
yeah, there's no question. Like you guys were saying, I think the fullness was a 10 out of 10. The fullness was just off the charts. He's always been criticized for, his upper body being just tremendous compared to the lower. I felt it was kind of more balanced this time. I felt
Yep.
like he brought the legs up. I feel like, which people have been saying for years, he does need more detail, especially like in the quads and just more striations in general. But
Hmm.
overall, I mean, this is a pretty good look for Brandon,
Hmm.
like you guys were saying. All right. Coming in fifth, another OG guy. We had William Bonac. Again, I want to say he said he was 42 in his recent podcast with Fuad. And he says that this could be one of his last years competing. He's not 100% sure, but like,
Mhm.
he's admitted that he knows he's not in his prime anymore.
Hmm.
But I felt like when he came in on Saturday, he was pretty close to his normal form.
Hmm.
Maybe not quite as sharp, but I mean, Saturday I felt like he was
He was
pretty,
definitely better than prejudging, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You could see the good ab control, the arms are popping. Overall, pretty good look. You can tell too, I mean, just kind of from through the arms and the lats, this is not, he's downsized a little bit,
Hmm.
from like his prime years, but obviously still very competitive.
Still looked good, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see from the back. Here's the back double.
Hmm.
Always a standout shot for William.
Mhm.
You can
Yeah.
see the glutes coming, the striations, the arms are looking good here.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he could, I don't know, maybe he would have battled for fourth if he would have
Hmm.
come in this condition on
Hmm.
Friday. It
Yeah.
might have been a little bit more comparable to Curry. Hard to say. But rounding out the top six, we have Akeem Williams. What did you guys think of Akeem?
He's one that just is always improving from show to show, year to year. He's always, he's not stagnant in his progress. He's always improving.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, he's another dude too. I don't know his exact age, but I believe he is in his 40s. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy to compete at this level in your 40s. And you guys follow him. I mean, the amount of weight that he's moving in the gym is it's just ridiculous.
Hmm.
So, he's
I
another
do
guy
like.
that works with Aceto. Let's see here.
Go.
The most muscular for sure. That's a good shot.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Great shot. You can see the legs coming out. Let's see.
His rear.
Double. Yeah, I feel like muscularity wise, I feel like this is actually improved for Akeem.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I feel like he's kind of worked on the lower lats. Obviously, he has high lat insertions, which is genetic. You can't do a whole lot about it,
Hmm.
You go to his
but that
rear
looks pretty
lat
good.
spread.
Let's see the rear lat.
He hits his rear lat differently to kind of
Close the gap.
close the gap
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
higher lat insertions, which is pretty real smart. But that's
Hmm.
it's a good shot.
Yeah, it does look pretty thick there. Obviously, the traps are exploding and everything. All right. Let's keep moving along.
I thought it was a great lineup for the men. It was definitely a fun lineup to watch. A lot of people that I like, some favorites.
Hmm. I feel like everyone just brought their own best package, which made the lineup pretty competitive and awesome that night.
Yeah, definitely a great show overall. We have Sean, Clarita. What did you guys think of Sean's package, I guess, compared to his best placings or even the Olympia, a few months back?
I feel like he's definitely hit his prime, you know. Not his best look, but it's awesome to see him keep compete with the big guys, you know. Like
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean he's probably here, I would say probably 178. I don't think he's over 180 here.
Mhm.
Uh, despite what the screen says, it's those numbers are kind of skewed, I think. But I feel like in this shot you can kind of see, I mean, the legs are probably downsized a little bit.
Mhm.
I mean, he competed at the Olympia, so it's like you're not really going to add much size if you're still dieting for another show.
Mhm.
So I feel like, in past years we've seen the legs a little bit fuller, especially compared to the tremendous upper body, but still a pretty good look for Sean.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like you said, it is hard to compete against essentially anyone bigger when
Mhm.
it's similar condition.
And
It's easy to
they
get
just got more
overlooked.
mass, you know. Of
Yeah.
course.
But yeah, he definitely held his own, and I mean, he beat out some top names, so
Yeah.
that's huge for Sean. I mean, that's very respectable. See the back shots. Sean always has a good presentation too. He is a pretty good poser,
Mhm.
good muscle control, great rear lat spread there.
Yeah.
A lot of density, a lot of thickness, a lot of detail. That's a good shot. All right. And yeah, I feel like overall too, I feel like Steve did a good job as far as comparing these guys and kind of giving them a fair shot,
Mhm.
which is what everyone wants to see. You want to be able to get compared against the guys that are, potentially ahead of you.
Right.
All right, eighth place, we have James Hollingshead. We saw a lot of pictures of him leading up to the show. Another guy working with Stefan, Boss of Outlaw. I feel like he's looked better before in years past, but I don't think this was a bad look for him.
Mhm.
I think he has such a long torso and then um kind of the
The
shorter
short line.
knee to hip ratio with the long torso that it's
Yeah.
hard structurally to compete with a Samson
Right.
who just has really symmetrical structure. But he had pretty good condition.
Mhm.
Yeah. I feel like from the back,
He looked
it
grainy.
Yeah, there is graininess. I feel like the back just isn't wide enough compared to some of the other gentlemen.
Mhm,
It's hard to win the back shots when you're kind of just a little bit thinner.
mhm.
But yeah, the hamstring, they're coming out there. That's you can see some detail. Let's keep moving.
Keep moving along.
So Carlos, so this is his second pro show. We saw him in 2022 at the Texas Pro. That was his pro debut.
Mhm.
What did you guys think of Carlos? He had a lot of hype coming into the show.
Like you said, Steph, like the long torso and then the short legs is just an odd look. But
Hmm.
I feel like with Carlos, he can really move his way up. I mean, if he brings in the conditioning too, like he could be really good.
Yeah, he missed the mark on the condition.
Yep.
Uh, he's got massive legs,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's kind of the different aesthetic look when you've got that longer torso. It's kind of like this empty space between the bottom of your lats to your top of your quads. That to me is awkward personally, but when you're, and again, when symmetry is what
I mean,
bodybuilding,
just look at the legs. Oh my gosh.
that's nuts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he could be really good. You just got to keep moving along.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I mean, you can't really put a timestamp on it, but he might be extremely dangerous in another year. It might take a little bit longer, but overall, tremendous legs. And I feel like, yeah, we just needed to, I mean,
Looks
the pose,
really soft there. Yeah.
yeah. Some of the posing too, some posing tweaks. And, people were saying too, he hasn't done that many shows.
mhm.
He turned pro, pretty quickly on the scene. So just more stage time, I think, for him, and he'll definitely improve.
Mhm.
No surprise here, but Patrick Moore in 10th. I got to be honest, I feel like he should have probably gotten last place. No disrespect. I feel like, obviously there was some stuff leading up to the show, the fight with the gym owner.
Mhm.
Um, but he's another Aceto guy. And, he made a post on Instagram after prejudging. Another podcast was saying kind of like, this is the excuse. I mean, it does look bad, when Aceto had, you know, top guys in the show. Aceto had two of the top three guys. So he had Andrew, he had Derek obviously winning the show, Patrick. So I don't think it's necessarily the diuretic protocol that he was saying because the other guys were, they came in fairly on, you know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Yeah.
So Patrick is one guy too with, a tremendous structure.
Hmm.
Mhm.
We've only really seen him nail it close once at the Mr. Olympia.
I
And
personally think he just doesn't really have the roundness for bodybuilding, open bodybuilding. So I could see why he got the place that he got too.
yeah, that's a good point. I know, like, I don't know how he feels about it, but I know some of the critics online thought that he kind of fit more for the
And
classic look.
yeah, I see it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, ultimately that's up to him. I mean, the legs obviously they need to come up from the front and back,
Hmm.
Hmm.
as well as the condition.
He's got such a good structure though.
Hmm.
He was one years ago after we saw him at the O. He just like Andrew, like really hoping that he would just come into his prime and just nail it. And we haven't seen it yet.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Rounding out, we have Justin Rodriguez. I feel like he's another guy in his 40s or late 30s. We've seen him work with countless coaches. He's with Justin Jacoby now. This is an improved look for Justin. I do feel like he should have beaten Patrick, in my opinion, but it's kind of still, he's still a bit off from
Mm.
his best look ever. I mean, you can see the legs are kind of downsized from past showings.
212.
Oh, he's a big dude.
He looks like 212 in these pictures, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see the side try.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, not a bad shot there. You see the glutes, the hams are coming pretty detailed. But he is showing too. I mean, last year he had a pretty rough year, so you could see that it's nice to see that he did come in improved. He hasn't looked this good in years, honestly. There is some hardness too from the glutes, a little bit in the hams. Obviously, he still needs to be tighter. But yeah, that rounds us out here for the show.
Yeah.
But, this really puts the Mr. Olympia. You guys obviously saw the poster with
Mhm.
Samson, Derek, and Hottie. So
It's gonna be so fun to watch.
it
Yep.
makes it a very, very exciting, because
Yeah.
obviously now you have three Mr. Olympias that are going for essentially an open title now.
Yeah, they're all gonna grind in silence during the off season and really try to put in the work, which is gonna be super awesome. And then we just gotta see who the next king is gonna be too.
Plot twist, Andrew comes in at 95% and takes
Ooh,
it all.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll be very interesting.
yeah. It would be pretty crazy to see. I mean, Hadi does have an advantage because now he's sat out all this time and improved
Hmm.
versus these other guys. They've been in prep for the show, right? But, of course, us three watched Hadi win the Arnold Classic last year. What do you guys think? Do you think that would have won the show, a few nights ago? What do you guys think?
His look from last year.
Yeah, when Hadi won the Arnold Classic last year.
Yeah.
I would agree,
Yeah.
especially in the legs.
Yeah.
Oof.
I think it
Yeah.
would have been lights out. I think Hadi would have won it. I think that was one of the best physiques to hit the stage.
Mhm.
So he didn't come in that look for the Olympia.
Mm-mm.
When he peaked on Saturday night, he was close, but he wasn't as good. But if he can improve on that look for this year, I mean, that's it.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. Uh, Nick Walker, of course, is trying to come back
Mhm.
after being off for 2 years. Obviously, the injury and the stuff leading up to the show. So he's been out of the Mr. Olympia for 2 years. So
Hmm.
he will definitely throw a wrench in that top five, top six. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to see.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's going to wrap us up for today. Make sure you like, subscribe. Let us know what you guys thought of the Arnold in the comments, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.